Hey, welcome back. It's Carlos Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. Wouldn't you love it if you woke up in the morning and you saw a text from your guy that said, "I miss you"? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about 3 steps to make any man miss you. We all love to be missed by somebody, and most everybody wants to know that they're desired enough to be missed, that our presence means something to someone. Back when I was actively dating, I guess you'd call it aggressively dating, I discovered some very interesting things about myself, mostly about how me, a guy, thought about women. And throughout the whole dating process, I kept these thoughts in a notebook, and then when I started coaching guys on how to be better at dating, I chronicled what they brought up too. It was very educational, and I got a lot of insider secrets that I pass on to you in these videos and my articles. Now today I'm going to reveal how to make any man miss you. And if you want a man to feel your presence and desire so strongly that he aches when you're not around, well, I got a few things to show you. Step number 1 is to stop the try hard. When your emotions get involved, and especially that desire to connect with a guy, you're going to find yourself saying WTF quite a bit. Like, what? Why won't he respond? Why does he keep pulling away? And even more when I move in. Why did I do that? Oh man, that was really needy. Or why am I freaking out? I'm going nuts over here. There are probably dozens of WTF moments in every day, really. And from that obnoxious driver that cuts you off to the questions that plague you about why you're not feeling the love that you're giving out each day. Sometimes these moments are just your mind catching up to your heart. Your heart wants connection, and you find yourself doing things that seem to cut you off from the very same connection you want to have with him. Now, when you catch yourself doing this with a guy, you're probably entering the try-hard zone. Now, the try-hard zone is when you find your needs aren't getting met, and that's when you start acting out your needs by calling him when you know you've already talked to him enough today, or texting him when you know you're just seeking a little bit of reassurance to get a reply from him, or maybe you put up some trial balloons to see if he really does feel about you the way you want and need him to, and on and on and on. The list could go on forever. What it all comes down to is trying to make him miss you instead of letting him miss you. This is a very important distinction, making versus letting. When a woman is trying indirectly to get us to want her, or she's trying to get us to show some sign that, or reassurance that about her insecurities, about where she stands in the relationship, when we see that, we know that you're being a tryhard. Let me give you a few more of these, hey, look at me, type of things you might be doing. You might be posting on Facebook in the hopes that he'll notice it and like it, or using any kind of social media in an attempt to get us or get into his headspace, pretending to be casual when you're really doing something very intentionally, texting mutual friends to get attention, or even posting pictures that are intended to get him a little jealous. Remember, don't be the try-hard. Just be the space he wants to fall into. All right, step number 2 is give him the gift. What gift could that be? Well, why, none other than the gift of space. You see, the one thing I learned in my self-analysis and training to be a guru was that nothing makes a person feel longing more than their absence. I long for Thai food if it's been absent in my life for too long. I long for a good 3D action movie if it's been a long time since I've seen one of those. And I long for a big hug from my honey if we've been apart for a little while. I'm sure you're familiar with the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And yeah, I know this one has become a total cliche, probably to the point where most women hear this advice, give him space, and they promptly ignore it the second they hear it. The reality is that men need more space than women do, and women need more closeness than men do. So how do we get past this obvious contradiction? Can we ever reconcile the huge difference between men and women? Yes, you can, and you must if you're going to have a successful relationship. Because as the woman in the relationship, I believe you're more sensitive and more in touch with the emotions and subtleties of what's going on. So watch him for his behavior patterns that tell you he's been a little too close to you, because guys tend to jump into relationships and not think about how quickly we can get burned out by them. Guys really do crave closeness to the woman in their life, to the point where we jump in head first and then we suddenly rebound from that. The closeness and then the masculinity, our masculine need for a little bit of separation kicks in. When you sense this, you have to be the first one to push back a little bit, give him a little bit of space before he even realizes he needs it. This is one of the fundamental truths of relationships, that it's also a key to a strong attraction dynamic in your love affair. Step 3 is over-separate. Honestly, if you can do this one step right, you'll never have a problem making men miss you or desire you ever again. It's actually the other end of the spectrum from pushing him or forcing him to miss you. This is where you move slower than he wants to go. It sounds so simple, but it's actually hard to do when the person that you want seems to open the doors and their arms wide to let you in. It's what all guys do in a relationship at the start when they're feeling that high level of sexual attraction. This is kind of like a test that men do without realizing it, and most women fail it. They rush in as soon as he shows his interest and acceptance. I get it, yeah, it feels like a nasty trick when he does this. After all, you want to dive in and show him how awesome you are and what he's got right here in your relationship. But I'll also be honest about this. Most people, men and women, don't understand how to do this step very well. What we do is we jump in and we try and control love. We try and force it to happen. So in order to fully captivate a guy, you have to be operating at a pace that's slower than he wants to go. You have to over-separate yourself from the man, for him to really miss you, and that means pulling away a little bit further than he might want. Stay quiet on Facebook a little bit longer, and maybe not text him for a few days, and let him miss you. Remember, the more scarce something is, the more we feel it's valuable. I've got a few married friends that unfortunately the woman feels like she won him instead of the other way around. And guess what? He rarely works at all to work that hard really to make her feel loved and cherished. So don't let all this current gender rhetoric confuse this in your head. Men want to be the knights seeking the hand of the lady. They want to win you. This is an absolute necessity for all relationships. And let me suggest that you discover the secrets of Cleopatra. She's the one woman that men have desired more than any other. She's mythic in her power because she actually understood these laws of attraction, and then she used them to rule not only a nation but to conquer the most powerful men in Rome at the time, Caesar and Mark Antony. If you'd like to know a little bit more about how Cleopatra pulled that off and the secrets of irresistible desire, click the link you see below this video. And of course, don't forget the big things you gotta do. Gotta subscribe to this video. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment and leave me your questions below. I love to hear what you've got to say. This is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. I'll be talking again soon. As always, live and love with passion.